Well, what a big surprise. Over here is the 2024 Mercedes GLE facelift. Now, it's a very interesting moment because BMW with the X5 saw a facelift as well, and it made it far better than ever. Audi, it's a bit mysterious what's really going to happen with the Q7. In fact, I'm not entirely sure. But for this Mercedes GLE, they gave it a facelift, making it look like an oversized GLC, which brings you down to a big question. Is it better than the BMW X5? Now, when it comes to the history of the Mercedes brand compared to BMW and the Volkswagen Group, Mercedes was born with trucks and limousines. So naturally, I had high expectations for them when it came to the 4x4 question or SUV question. In fact, they were the first ones in this with the Mercedes ML class. Now, the GLE is the successor of the ML model. But I'm under the impression that Mercedes has started losing the plot in terms of design, because there's something about the design of the GLE that just looks a bit oversized, if you know what I'm saying. Whereas when you look at the Audi Q7, the Q7, it looks very compact, it looks very interesting. It's like an oversized Audi A6 Avant or something. So it's very interesting what Audi has been doing. And BMW, they did a brilliant job with the facelift X7. In fact, the X7 was always a desirable competitor, along with the Volvo XC90. And then now we have the new EX90, which leaves me to wonder, what advantage does this Mercedes GLE really have that sets it apart from those competitors? Let's take a look. This particular Mercedes GLE costs 107,000 euros. Well, similar price to what I saw of the BMW X5. A 360-degree parking camera, you get a real air vent in the corner right there. Wow, that's great. Now, as part of the facelift, it's interesting to get those micro Mercedes badges right there. That's cute, but I don't think it's necessary. Come on, Mercedes. The headlights have seen some changes though. Looking at it from this angle, we can see it is very evolutionary to the ML. This design right here for the rear lights. And then this prominent C pillar, which is the only pillar that has a body paint to it. Now, all four doors get keyless entry, and listen to the sound of the door. I don't know what is it about Mercedes SUVs, but they really have nice door sounds. Okay, the front door sounds better, whereas the back door has a bit of a fluffy sound to it. Now, for the Mercedes GLE, it's not all pink roses. The only problem I'd like to point out is the fake vents, like right here, and then also the fake exhaust right here. And it's a shame because it looks gorgeous, and you have the AMG package with this particular GLE. And now over to the interior of the Mercedes GLE. Some more interesting things and some more questions. First of all, I'd like to point out this. This is just amazing. It's very helpful. Reminds me of what I saw in the Porsche Cayenne before. Now, the problem I would like to point out is the steering wheel. I'm not a fan of this thick steering wheel. It's an AMG package. I don't know what is it with BMW and Mercedes. Every time they give a sport package to their car, the thick steering wheel. Why do you need this? Why can't I just have a simple steering wheel? Anyways, steering adjustment is electric, which is good. Thank goodness for that. And then electric steering adjustment, which is onto the door, traditional of Mercedes. Now, my first impression of the interior, like when sitting behind the wheel, I don't know if it's just me. I can see the ridge of the bonnet from here, but I feel like I'm in a minivan for some reason. Because whenever I sit behind the wheel of a BMW X5 or an Audi Q7, it feels like an actual SUV. But when sitting behind the wheel of this Mercedes GLE, I cannot see the front of the bonnet. I cannot see the bonnet either. It's like a minivan almost. It's a bit scaring me right now because Mercedes never made this mistake before. Mercedes was always very, if it's an SUV, it's an SUV. If it's a sedan, it's a sedan. Now, when it comes to the infotainment system, at the moment, the Volkswagen Group have a better display, and the BMW, they do have a better usage and everything. Whereas Mercedes, when it comes to infotainment systems, they've not been the best, but they've always been around. They've been at least better than average. So, shortcut right here, a little mouse pad to control the infotainment system. And you get this little thing right here where you can lay your wrist onto. We're going to cover the infotainment system later. First, I'd like to talk about what I get presented right here. So, rest of the interior has remained very similar to the pre-facelift version. I like it. Shortcut buttons right here, mostly for your climate controls. And it's nicely displayed. That's good. You get this nice trim right here, which is good. 2 cup holders. You get a wireless telephone recharge, which is at a rather interesting position, very close to the cup holders. as if it was an afterthought. And then you get 2 charging ports right there. Decent. Now you also get suspension adjustments for this particular Mercedes GLE. That's premium, as if you're going to need that, but why not? Now, central console storage, which is rather flexible. That's good. And you get a little charging port in there. That's good. Decent. And then glove box, which is huge. And then you get a panoramic sunroof, but you don't get any glasses holder. What am I supposed to do on a sunny day? And then for the rest, I love this handle right here. This is a good door handle, nothing pretentious. But then over here, I get what feels like hard plastic. But the window buttons are nicely detailed, nicely displayed. This has to be one of the best window buttons I've ever seen compared to Audi, because I know the Volkswagen group, they have a thing for plastic door handles. In fact, even if it's a car of 120,000 euros, oh my goodness. Anyways, Mercedes will remind you you bought an expensive car. That's for sure. That's what I like about Mercedes. But as of lately, I'm under the impression on certain aspects they kind of lost the plot. Now, the transmission of the Mercedes GLE is onto the steering wheel. I'm not entirely a fan of this concept. I think it was better if it was here somewhere in the middle, but then it doesn't really matter. And you get micro pallets, which I did not know existed. I did not know they were actually there the whole time. And this, you know, this is the thing about the steering wheel. I think this AMG steering wheel looks beautiful on an AMG GT. You do not need to have this kind of steering wheel on a GLE. When it comes to the infotainment system details, I have to say that the Volkswagen Group have a better display, and the BMW, they seem to have better usability. So, but you can still navigate around the menu using this swivel wheel right here. Look, I can just move around the map. That's decent. I like the displays of this particular map right here. Mercedes seems to have a good display. Oh my goodness, the watcher has some effect to it. Look at it. This is so cute. I like it. And I like how you get the built-up areas and the greenery. I like those minor details. Mapping is always my favorite feature. But now let's look at the relief. So let's go to a mountainous part of the country. I don't see much details about the relief. That's the only disadvantage. But it doesn't really matter. I like the mapping. It's detailed enough. Better than an Android system like you find in a Volvo. Then you can navigate around the menu. Even get off-road controls as if you will ever be needing this for this GLE with the... with the AMG wheels. Oh my goodness, the details right here. This is like what you would expect to have in a Mercedes Unimog. Wow. This is cute. But unnecessary, I think. You can choose driving modes. That's what I would love to have. And then seating massage, ambient lighting. Oh my goodness, I can choose the colors. I think for Mercedes, the best color would be yellow for the interior. At night, it would look absolutely gorgeous. I'd stick to yellow. At least that's what I would do. But red is sporty and blue is electric, I guess. All right, now it's time to check out the back seat of this Mercedes GLE facelift. Okay, so massive space here. This is excellent. Very, very spacious. Feet room is just endless. My knee room, no question over there. It's acres away from the driver's seat and the front passenger seat as well. Same story. Headroom, there's no question, and the headrest is a bit on the firm side, but it's good actually. I'm impressed. Let's check out the armrest. That's where the magic is. What? Mercedes. You get 2 cup holders over there that are just there. I know Audi likes to be more interesting. They would have a cover over it, or they would have this interesting play. Well, yeah. No climate control whatsoever, but you get this micro storage space, which I can only imagine what you use it for. And then you get 2 air vents right there, and a charging port that's isolated all the way down there, and another storage space which is deeper. Alrighty, backseat pocket, that's a net at least, that's a plus. And then door bins right here, which are again small. I'm under the impression that when it comes to practicality, something about the GLE feels one step behind compared to competitors. Now it's time to check out the boot space of the Mercedes GLE. First of all, I like the sound of the door every time I open it. There is this metallic sound, just like you'd have on a Volvo XC90 or the EX90. So first, I would like to talk about the boot lip. The body paint sticks out very proudly, so in long terms, you have to be careful not to scratch it with your luggage or heavy goods. Otherwise, the boot lip over here does have some metal platings, which is again good, but it's too shiny, so just don't get it scratched in long terms. You get the tether points. That's decent. And even a hook right there in the corner, a trailer hitch hook, and even the suspension adjustment for the rear to make ease of access the rear more easily. That's good. And then additional storage space underneath, although this would be a space also for your spare tire, I believe. Not surprising. But I don't see any 12-volt socket. Oh yeah, the 12-volt socket is right there. So here's my conclusion of the Mercedes GLE facelift. For a price of 107,000 euros, this Mercedes GLE is an interesting competitor compared to the BMW X5 and the Audi Q7. It's since the release of the GLE, this particular generation, there was a lot of things conflicting in my mind. Like it just doesn't look as interesting as it used to be, because there was a time the ML class, it looked very compact. There was something about it that looked like how a real Mercedes should be. But now there's something about this particular GLE, this generation, that's always looked oversized compared to its competitors like the Audi Q7 and the BMW X5 and even the Range Rover Sport. So it's what I like about this Mercedes GLE is the infotainment system. They've seen massive improvement. But another aspect that didn't really convince me that much was the interior. Like when I sat inside behind the driver's wheel, it felt like I was in a minivan. It didn't really feel like an SUV, if you know what I'm saying. Because when I sat behind the BMW X5, it reminds you you're in an SUV. So here's how I'm going to put it. If you expect status and if you expect a decent A to B machine that looks good, this Mercedes GLE is for you. But if you expect driving pleasure, the BMW X5 takes the trophy. And if you expect technology or something that looks nicer, the Audi Q7 is a good alternative, and so is the Range Rover Sport. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for more videos that are on the run. I will see you all next time.